Welcome back to the morning show. We hope everyone had a fantastic spring break.
Speaking of, did you do anything fun over the break, Allie?
Yeah, I played a lot of field hockey and ate a lot of ice cream.
On today's show, we will be covering science fair, some COVID updates, of course, the foodie questionnaire.
Hey, Hasset, how much does it cost a pirate to get his ears pierced?
I don't know.
About $1 an ear. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam announced last week that Virginia will expand coronavirus vaccine eligibility to everyone who is 16 or over in the state by April 18th. However, some of the confusion comes in Fairfax County. The county runs its own separate website for vaccination signups that is separate from the state of Virginia's. Unfortunately, students who are 16 aren't yet considered eligible at the county website for a vaccine, but should be soon. Check the website below frequently to learn when anyone ages 16 to 18 can register for a vaccine in Fairfax County. They are currently registering people in Group 1C.
In my project, compared the efficacy of sunscreens, specifically those that are safe for coral reefs and those that are toxic to coral reefs.
I'm Julia Victor, and my project is Understanding Carbon Sequestration in 5 Virginia Native Plants.
So this time, for various reasons, there were a lot of plant-based projects. There was one student who wanted to do the best native plants that grow in this area for carbon sequestration. So she got in contact with a local native plant nursery who donated the plants to her, and they will now be on campus as part of our native plant nursery. But she was able to calculate the carbon sequestration in 5 different varieties of native plant.
Mitigating global warming by converting carbon dioxide to carbonates.
And my project was the evaluation of different biodegradable materials for the manufacturing of menstrual products.
One major part of this pollution are chemicals found in sunscreens that can wash off into the oceans when you go to the beach or even just taking a shower every day.
Industrial buildings account for 22% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Therefore, reduction of emissions in the industrial sector is critical.
Especially since they are often undiscussed single-use plastics and are mass pollutants.
These findings are important because many climate change organizations are focused on just planting trees.
That was one thing that was missing this year, working with students in the classroom, hand in hand, working them through the projects, but also watching them figure things out on their own. A lot of the students were able to at least come up with solutions to their problems and then say, Mr. Ringier, do you think this will work? Before then making the next step forward. So watching that creative process and that problem-solving process was very rewarding.
So after conducting this experiment, I found out that reef-safe and reef-toxic sunscreens with the same SPF level work the same.
We had several very rewarding projects, but I think in some ways the ones that are most rewarding are the ones where things go wrong.
So the biggest challenge in my experiment was actually getting the UV lamp that I was testing with to work. I remember I was about to experiment, my deadline was very soon, and the lamp that I was using was very faulty and it just wouldn't work. So my brother, thankfully, he found one that was in the area. I remember the hardware store was about to close. We needed to go right then or else I wasn't gonna make my deadline.
I mean, a project where everything goes right can be very gratifying, but it's kind of easy. Got an email from this team. They were growing spinach and dropped their whole tray of spinach on the ground. But they were able to pull it all together, get a good project out. With less data than they'd hoped for, but they stuck with it.
If this research is utilized successfully, global warming can and will be stopped.
This experiment is important and applicable to real life because it has the potential to lessen the amount of single-use plastics circulating through the environment and landfills on a larger scale.
The Cavalcade's back. Take a quiz on what Woodson teacher you are most like, and read articles about the best anime on Netflix, hazing in college Greek life, and more at www.woodsoncavalcade.org. Alternatively, you can access the site through Cav Kiosk. The newest edition goes live Friday, but before then, you can check out all of last year's articles if you missed any.
The old question, coffee or tea? Let's decide.
Alright, so the reason why I prefer tea over coffee is because tea has more flavor, and whilst coffee is just bland and just has nothing.
I'd have to say I definitely prefer coffee over tea for a lot of reasons. It tastes way better to me. It gives you way more energy than tea does. And you can add in a lot of different stuff to make it taste even better.
Hey! So I would definitely have to pick tea over coffee because with tea there's just so much variety. Like today I have pomegranate white tea, English breakfast tea, peppermint herbal tea, English breakfast tea again, chamomile tea, rosehip and hibiscus tea, vanilla chai tea, and Earl Grey tea. I have so much tea, and it just proves there's so much variety.
I have to say coffee is definitely better. I feel like you feel more energized and that you can do way more with it than tea.
I prefer tea over coffee because I've always had tea growing up, but also because tea has a lot of cool flavors. Like once I had raspberry tea and I thought that was cool.
So what do you think? Coffee or tea? Well, maybe you should go to WTW Broadcasting Studios and go vote in the live poll. See you then.
Student drivers, please listen carefully. Parking enforcement has already started this week. Some reminders. First, do not park on school property until you have a valid parking permit displayed in your car. Second, do not park in staff spaces. These are marked by signs and yellow painted lines. And third, any questions about parking, please go to room E116.
The Throwback Challenge winners have been released. Congratulations to Mr. Schaefer, Jaden Resor, Aubrey Resor, and Mara Faye.
Welcome back to Sports Highlights. The cross-country team will be participating in the Patriot District Championships tomorrow, April 8th at Berkeley Park. Our volleyball team had an amazing re-entry into the season with their first game back against Fairfax, winning 3-0. To wrap up our football season is the last game this Thursday at 7 p.m. Our team will go against John R. Lewis at Woodson High School. Good luck!
That's it for today's show. Our last video is from Miss Lieb Mosley, who caught a beautiful bald eagle on film over the break.
Have a great first week back from spring break.